Hello everyone and welcome to Odoo Live. This is Ken, the marketing officer here at Odoo Hong Kong, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Joining me today, we have Joist, the business advisor here at Odoo Hong Kong, to discuss managing HR with Odoo. And throughout the presentation, we will be answering your question in the YouTube chat. You can fill your question in the chat box, and Joyce will help me to get through them at the end of the section during our Q&A. And if you would like to view this video again, you can simply access to the link to this video and watch it anytime you want once the live event has finished. And thanks everyone for joining, and let's get started with our webinar. And Joyce, all yours.
Okay, thank you, Ken. So I'm Joyce, the business advisor in Hong Kong office. So now, as you know, we are going to be to do an HR module on Odoo today. So let me give you a very brief company introduction first of all. So you can see my email here and my demo link. If you're interested in a demo, you can always schedule one with me by clicking into that link. So how I can help you with your business? I can present live demos for you. I can discuss best practices for different industries and business, and I offer tailor-fit solutions to you as well. What that means would be I would qualify your business needs with you and suggest to you an optimal workflow for your business. I'm also exposed to different industries, retail, wholesale, different manufacturing industries as well. And I'm familiar with how different businesses work, so that is one of my strengths as well. And I also do account management. So first of all, what is Odoo? Odoo is an all-in-one management software. What that means is it's integrated. As you know, Odoo covers a wide variety of business features such as CRM, HR, sales invoicing, purchases, e-commerce, manufacturing. So these apps are all fully integrated. They are all beautiful and easy to use, which makes it more enticing for you and your staff to dig into it. So as I've mentioned, we cover different aspects of the businesses, websites, sales, operations, manufacturing. And the good thing about Odoo is you can always start with one module instead of implementing the whole full package upfront and not knowing whether it suits your business or not. So a modular approach is also one of Odoo's strengths. Grow as your company grows as well. So we have now 7 different offices around the world. We have an office in Hong Kong. We have 3 offices in Europe, 2 in the States, and 1 in India. So pretty soon we'll be expanding into China as well. So we have currently 32 supported languages and 3 million plus users with 1,000 installs per day and a massive user growth over the last 4 years. And you can see our founder Fabian Pinnekers over there. Our mission is to help companies grow, and that is Odoo's wish to grow as your business grows. How about our clients who use Odoo? So let's take a look at them. These are the different clients around the world using Odoo for their business operations. Some for a part of their operations, maybe only sales, invoicing, and purchases. Some with a full set of business operations for the small and medium-sized businesses. You might recognize some of these logos from the large enterprises as well. So how do we manage? Okay, so today's topic, how do we manage HR with Odoo? I'm going to go through 3 different challenges with you today, and if we have time, we'll cover more of them. First of all, I will create comprehensive employee records, which is very important if you are growing your business, or even when you're starting, but then you're employing as well. So as your employee number adds up, it is important to keep a full record of their details. And the second challenge will be to recruit talent in the market. So how do we do that with Odoo? And third is evaluating employees' performance through appraisals. Okay, so here is my email again, and if you are interested in booking a demo with me, you can click into the link below. So let's dig into the HR module. This will be for the end. Let's dig into the HR module now. So as you can see, we have the Odoo dashboard over here. So I've downloaded pretty much all of the apps, but then we don't need all of them today. What we need will be appraisal, employees recruitment, surveys, and if we have time, we will also look at attendances, leaves, and expenses. So how do we create a beautiful employee record? So first of all, let's click into this. Okay, in this employee record, you will be able to see on this dashboard the different employees I've created here. So looking at the card individually, you'll be able to see at a glance the name of this employee, the position, their email and contact, as well as their attendances and the number of persons whom they have chatted with. So this will be one of the views only. You can also see your employees in list view, which might make it easier for you if you have a large number of employees, and you can sort them out by different departments as well. So this grouping allows you to look at your records very tidily. So let's go back to this view and click into one of them. So let's click into Joist. So by clicking into Joist, you'll be able to see very comprehensive record over here. So what does it contain? So over here at the top, attendance, first of all, how the work time that this employee has by clocking in and clocking out. So how long has she been working for each day? The timesheets, if it is linked to if she is how long has she worked on her projects, the number of contracts, the leaves she has, so 5 means she has 5 days, the appraisals, and also an active button over here. So if it's a former employee, then you can always archive it as a record, but for now let's keep it as active. So below we can see the contact information. So Joyce has a work address over here and then work email, and you'll be able to see as well which department she belongs to and her job position and her working hours as well. So if she has a manager or a coach, you can input these names and link it to the employee records as well. So these buttons here, if you have been using Odoo, you'll know that these are clickable. So if I click into it, they will immediately go to the relevant department. So let's go back a step and look at the second tab. These will be the appraisals, which we will be talking about later, as well as some private information, for example, the nationality, the birth date, work permit, etc. So looking at the chatter below, I'm sure you are familiar with Odoo chatter, which is one of our strengths as well. So here you'll be able to see a comprehensive record of what we have done with this employee. You can send messages directly here to them. By clicking send messages, you can insert any email template you have saved for them. For example, if this is the new applicant, you can send an email to them to tell them that to welcome them to your company. And you can log an internal note here for your own reference. You can also add followers here. So if you are the HR, you might want to add the manager to this employee record as well, so that the manager will keep track of what this employee has been doing. So you can add the followers here and send an invite to them. Okay, so this will be for the employee record, very straightforward and very clear as well. So how do we recruit such employees to this company? So let's take, and you can add the departments here as well. Okay, so I want to talk about the departments as well. So here by clicking into departments, you'll be able to see 4 different departments in this company. Well, on each of these cards, there is a comprehensive quick overview of how many leave requests this department's staff has made, the allocation request and expense. So there is also an absent employee, which means that they have a leave today. So here you can see it's 1. So let's click into one of these. So by clicking into the department, you'll be able to go straight into that employee or those employees that are linked to this department. Okay, so let's go back a step. Here, the leave request and the allocation request, we will talk about later if we have time to talk about leave and expenses. So for now, let's go to recruitment. Okay, so this will be the recruitment app. By clicking into it, you will be able to see a beautiful dashboard, very clear, with different roles, positions here open for recruitment. So let's go into configuration and click job positions. Here you'll be able to see at a glance as well the different job positions that belongs to different departments that are under recruitment. So it shows you the current number of employees, how many we have, the expected new employees, and the total forecasted employees will be computed for you. So it also gives you a summary of how many employees you have hired for the time being for each respective role, and the status of each role's recruitment process. So let's click into sales manager. Okay, so in this sales manager card, you'll be able to see the smart buttons at the top. So over here, you can see start recruitment, which actually means it's in the process of recruiting now. This part shows the stage of this job position recruitment. And above here are the very useful smart buttons. First of all, you can see 5 applications for this role of sales manager. By clicking into it, you'll be able to find the different applicants for this role. So we'll go into details later, very quickly. So apart from the applications, you'll be able to see the current employees, the documents that are linked to this application, which means that it is cover letters, resumes, so all the attachments will be found there. You can also see a tracker and a button which says unpublished on website. So what do they mean? We'll be looking at those in a minute as well. So first of all, let's look at the details on the card. So here you can specify the different departments. I have preset 3 departments actually, or 4 departments. So here you can choose any one which this role belongs to, and input the manager as well. Next, we have the interview form, which is used for the interview process. So whenever you have the applicant in front of you, it would be very helpful for you to have a standardized form which all the interviewers, all the HR managers will use. So here you can link this role to a specific recruitment form. The job location, the email alias. This email alias will allow candidates to send you applications directly from their emails. The recruitment, the recruiter responsible and expected new employees, and HR responsible as well. For the job description, you can always input it here. Okay, so let's just save this, even though I've made no changes. So first of all, let's start with the applicant applying through direct email. So by clicking into the email, I can very quickly type out an email okay, very brief. So I click send, and in a minute the email will be sent to the applicant pipeline that you saw just now. So we'll be checking that in a minute. So let's come back to this part where there are 5 applications. Oh, so this is the pipeline. So let me click refresh and see if we have received. Okay, so we'll be looking at the email we sent just now. So let's take a look at one of these application cards. Okay, so this is an applicant card created by the HR for qualification purposes. So first of all, you'll be able to see the number of attachments to resumes. On this left-hand side over here, you'll be able to see the next logical steps. So this candidate has been qualified for second interview. She is not yet an employee. The HR manager can refuse her application anytime by clicking into that button after the interview if she deems her unsuitable. So over here you have the different smart buttons again. Meetings, very useful smart button because once you schedule a meeting with Ellie, the applicant, for example, let's schedule a meeting with her at 9 a.m. and click create. So a calendar invite will be sent to Ellie immediately without you having to send another email to her. So this will be very useful for you to schedule interviews with that applicant after you called her. So a button here which says start interview. Once we click into this button, we will see the recruitment form that we mentioned just now that is linked to sales manager. Remember the recruitment form that is very useful for you to use in the interview to standardize the recruitment procedure for sales manager. So this contains that recruitment form. So the documents related will be the resume that Ellie has sent in. So over here you'll be able to see to tag this applicant using two different tags over here. You can create more because tags are useful because if you have a large number of applicants for different roles, you can also always filter and search by typing in the relevant words in the tags. Okay, so apart from that, you'll be able to assign the person responsible for this applicant and give her the 3 or 2 or 1 stars for appreciation, and also specify the source where she came in. For example, she found our job application through Google, so that is why she has the search engine as a source over here. Okay, apart from the applied job and the department, you can also specify while you qualified her previously, her expected salary and the proposed salary to her, as well as her available date, which are all very important information for this candidate. And there will be a very short application summary here about Ellie's background in her line, so 5 years experience as sales manager in an MNC. So this part is also very useful for different maybe different HRs to follow up on one applicant, or different managers to follow up on this applicant. And we come to the very useful chatter over here. As you can see, we have a scheduled activity. Well, I haven't mentioned scheduled activity just now. Scheduled activity is useful when you have a lot of activities to be planned for a number of applicants. So here you can see it is in green, which means it's planned in the future. and this person has to maybe look this person that follows this chatter, the HR manager probably. She has to follow this candidate by maybe calling or emailing her. And once she has that done, she can mark done. She can edit the activity or she can just remove it because maybe for some reason the applicant has withdrawn, etc. So this is about the activity part. You can also schedule next activities for this applicant by choosing these presets, or you can also preset some activities for yourself in the backend. So let's say I schedule this activity today. You'll notice that it will appear in yellow, which means that it's scheduled for today. And again, the chatter records everything that is done with this applicant over here, and you can add followers and even channels, which means private group chats, to this candidate. So once you've qualified her, you can shortlist her as well. So let's try shortlisting her over here. Okay, once we shortlist her, go back to the Kanban view, and you'll be able to see Ellie moving from second interview to shortlist automatically without you doing another step. So that would be for the applications part. So let's go on to resumes and letters will be just where you store these applications. Okay, so let's go back to job positions. For job positions, okay, so I remember I have two smart buttons over here. I haven't explained just now. Okay, so what are these? So by clicking into trackers well, you might have guessed that trackers means tracking how many visitors have visited your job application post through the link on your website. So let's try clicking into it. Okay, over here you'll be able to see how the job application looks on your website if you are using Odoo website as well. So here you'll be able to see the job title, the location, a short summary of the job, which you can always change by clicking the edit button over here, the responsibilities for this job, the challenges and the must-have. Well, actually all of these you can retype according to your business job recruitment requirements, or you can add different blocks here to suit your needs. So how do we do that? If you've used Odoo website builder before, you'll know that Odoo is actually very user-friendly in dragging and dropping different blocks on the website. So say I want to add a website title here, or let's say exciting careers. We can also add different templates that shows maybe your company, something about your company, some information. You can always change these boxes to suit your needs, or maybe you can remove them if you don't want them. Very simple to use. And you can always add different templates over here to make your job application website look a lot richer and more interesting to the applicant. So let's click save. Okay, so you see an apply now button over here. If we click into it, you'll be able to see a job application form, very short, from this for this role of sales manager. So let me just create another name over here. Let's say this time I'm Emmy. I'll just input the same email address I have before. Okay, so a very short line, and let's say I have a resume here. Okay, and I click submit. Okay, so it tells us that we have already sent our application along. So we can go back. Let me just go back to the dashboard and click into recruitment. Okay, so let's go to applications, all applications. Okay, so here at the bottom, under pre-qualification, well, actually these stages you can always change the names by yourself or add more stages. So over here under pre-qualification, you can see the two emails. Well, one email I sent before using my Gmail account to HR at the domain name. So you will be able to see the name of this person sending the email automatically coming into this card, and the title of the email over here. And also this person's contact email automatically dropping into this field. So this is where you can contact this applicant and then qualify them and fill out the card and see if they are really interested in the role. So this will be the email over here. Going back to applications, you'll be able to see as well the application, the contact form I've sent just now for Emmy. So here is Emmy's application, same email with a phone number, the applied job and the relevant department, and the source will be the search engine. So the application summary over here, which is actually the content of the email, as well as the attached file. So these attached file will also go to the documents and the resumes and letters over here. Okay, so a few simple clicks, but everything is quickly done or quickly falls into the correct places very conveniently, so that you would not have to trace where your different applicants have gone in this system. Well, they automatically go into your pipeline in the pre-qualification stage. So this will be for the recruitment part. So let's go a step further to look at the interview form that we have talked about just now. Okay, so this is the form we mentioned twice just now about the HR using a recruitment form to standardize the recruiting procedure. Well, actually this can be tailor-made as well. So as you can see, when I've clicked into it, it's an online form. Well, some of the questions over here, these questions are preset. They contain questions which allow open-ended answers, multiple or choices given to you, rating the importance, etc. So there are different pages. So where can we configure this form for our own needs? So let's go to survey. Okay, so now by clicking into one of these buttons on the website button just now, we quickly access into surveys, which by going out to the dashboard again, it is this app over here. So let's click into it. Okay, once we access into this survey, we will be able to see the dashboard over here. We have two different draft forms, one for appraisal, one for recruitment. Let's look at the one for recruitment. Okay, so over here at the top left hand corner, you'll be able to see the different buttons for you to indicate the next step. If you want to design the survey, click into this button and you'll be able to configure it. For testing the survey, it actually means preview the survey. So before you send it out, you can always test it, fill it out yourself, see whether these questions are useful for qualifying the candidates. Print it out, share and invite by email to some of the applicants that you have chosen, and view the results, which means to view what they have responded to this survey. So over here you have the status of this survey. It's currently in draft form, and over here it shows that there are currently no answers to this recruitment form. So let's click into design survey. Okay, maybe we'll click into this first of all and look at the questions. So personal particulars, apart from indicating the question names and the type of questions, like how do you want the candidates to answer? Is it an open-ended question, or do you want them to give you a numerical value? You can also indicate whether it's a mandatory answer or not, and tell them that they must have an answer to that. So what I can do here, I can click edit. Okay, so let me just save it. One more thing here, you can always see in the chatter who has edited the survey as well. So for now, let us test the survey, preview it. Okay, so you can see the personal particulars over here. What is your name? What is your age? What is your major? I think I only have... Okay, so if I click to the next page, it doesn't allow because I have indicated that one of these questions in a mandatory needs a mandatory answer. So before I do that, it's impossible for me to go to the next page. Okay, so once I input that, I can go to the next page and okay, let's say I answer this as well and submit the survey. And let's go back to surveys as well to see where this answer, where this response goes to. Apart from clicking into this, we can also click into answers, or we can also come into this part. Okay, so analyze answers will show you the number of responses the applicants has given. If you have sent it out to 10 applicants, you'll be interested in finding out how many of them has responded to you and whether they have skipped this question or not. If nobody has answered, then the system will tell you, sorry, this is maybe not a very good question. So here are some basic simple statistics about how your survey gathers feedback from your applicants. So let's go back to survey for the moment. Okay, so you can share and invite others by email so that they will receive this survey and can fill it in by clicking into the link. So we'll be doing this for the appraisal part later. I think view results is pretty much similar, correct? Okay, so after the surveys part, I want to talk about the appraisals part. So let's go to appraisals. So say you have converted, converted some of these applicants into employees. What do you do? Well, first of all, how do you convert these applicants to employees? For example, say Ellie shortlisted, you decided that she's very suitable and you create employee. Notice the difference that the smart buttons have changed. So previously, these buttons are not there, but once you click create employee, you'll be able to see that this person is linked to the relevant features immediately. For example, attendance, which I have talked about just now at the beginning of this webinar. Timesheets, the projects she's on, the contracts, the leaves she has, appraisals, and any information here that is useful for you to work in the long term with her. So let's go to appraisals. Okay, To work on appraisals, what we can do is either access the appraisal by clicking into the employee and coming into appraisal and then specifying a certain deadline for the appraisal, and also final interview to gather feedback, as well as to plan which appraisal reviewer should be responsible for Ellie. Now you'll notice that the appraisals in Odoo is actually linked to surveys. So once we create an appraisal form over here, you'll be able to see, okay, start appraisal and send forms. The forms are the surveys that we have just now, but in a different format with different questions. And the answers over here, whether Ellie has responded or not. So let's say Joist is the selected appraisal reviewer and the appraisal form. Let's try to use appraisal. Okay, so this is the form we saw just now as well in the surveys. Click into it and you'll be able to see the same buttons above for this form, as well as the number of questions and the options, whether the user can come back to the previous page, whether they need a login, etc. So if you click into it, you'll be able to see the questions themselves. So here you can modify the questions, or you can just leave it and say it's mandatory, save it, and then you can send the forms to them. So once you have sent the form to Ellie, she'll receive on her end in the email about the appraisal that she has to fill in with the before this deadline. And once she has filled it in, you'll be able to see the answers over here. So let's save it for the time being, and let's go to the email. Okay, so it's not yet sent, it will be sent later. And you'll be also able to see that, well, actually, because Ellie has a manager, Joyce, responsible for her review, so I actually received another email which invites me to review her appraisal after she has filled it in. Okay, so now it's appraisal sent. Let's click done. Okay, and let's go back a step. Okay, and look at her card. So you'll be able to see after we have filled in all these information, it will appear on the card, the sent appraisal, but not yet any answers. So if you have a lot of employees, you'll be able to fully utilize this Kanban view from to start to appraisal sent to done to cancelled. So again, our appraisal is in the format of surveys sent to employees to gather their feedback on their performance on the company, etc. So it is linked to the survey form because, like, maybe some of you will wonder, can I send a PDF instead of a survey for the employees to fill it in? You can, but that will be a PDF attached to your email instead of the appraisal feature in Odoo. So you can always attach a PDF appraisal by the manager to the employee and send it to them individually. But for Odoo appraisal, it will be in the form of a survey. Okay, so now we have talked about surveys as well. I think, let me see. I can also share with you how to edit the survey, which I think we have missed just now, but that's pretty simple. So maybe we'll just go on to leaves. Okay, so for leaves, here you'll be able to see it's a bit different from version 10. If you have used version 10 before, that would be in a Gantt chart type of view, but now it's in the calendar view. So you can see actually on this calendar for this month that you only have one legal leave for one employee. And you can click into it and see, okay, when she has applied for this leave, what type of leave is that, when would it be, and the request for approval in the chatter. So as a manager, you can also always approve or refuse or reset it to draft because you want her to edit anything in it. So let's say you approve it. Okay, it will immediately go on to the chatter, and she will receive a notification in her email or in the Odoo system that you have approved her leave already. So apart from that, you can always see quickly how many of your staff have a leave in the leave summary. So for here, okay, all 3 applications for leave are from Joist, and her number of days is 9. So you can always see, okay, the different status as well, the start date, end date, and the different status, approved or to approve. You can always filter them, play around with the filters at the top. Apart from that, the leave request that I have shown you just now. And if you want to allocate the number of days to the employees at the beginning of each of your calendar year, you can do that over here by creating, for example, annual leave and leave type, legal leaves, and duration, as well as adding a reason over, this will be the allocation request made from the employee to the manager. So let's discard this for the moment. And the leaves to approve for the managers over here. So there is none yet. And you'll be able to see from the statistics the different reports and even the leaves by departments over here. Okay, so this is a very straightforward feature, the application for leaves, the request for leaves, and whether the manager approves or not. So some of you might ask about the access rights of Odoo. So will employees accidentally click into the approve button, or will they be able to see other employees' private information? Well, we can always set the access rights in the settings on the dashboard over here. So what you can do is access the settings and click into access rights, and you'll be able to set the different settings. If you don't want them to be able to view other employee settings, or if they are only ordinary employees without any management, not in the management level, or without any overcharging admin rights, then you can always do that here. But then for now, I'm a super admin level, so I can always see the approve and refuse button, but that doesn't mean it happens to all the employees. Okay, so last of all, we will look at expenses. Okay, so some of your employees might have expenses for you to submit for the reimbursement of their activities. So let's say, okay, when you click into the dashboard and click into that button here, you'll be able to see my expenses to submit or refuse reports and expense reports. So these submission can also always be done by email, by just sending an email to expenses. Let's try that again. So let's say send an email to expenses at that domain name. Let's say entertainment this time with clients. For example, $5,000. And we also input a code there for the easy reference of HR and click send. Okay, so in a minute you'll be able to see on the dashboard just now the email that is sent into this system. So for now, let's look at this card over here. Okay, so the top button will be the Submit to Manager button again. So this will be for the employees, not the manager. So the product will be expenses for lunch meeting, and the unit price, you can always edit that afterwards. And the payment by employee is to reimburse. It also shows you the expense date and the account that is to record this sale, and the currency as well. And again, this record has been created an hour ago, as it shows in the shadow. And no documents are attached to it, but you can always attach, they can always attach receipts or invoices to it, so that you have a clear record of their actual reimbursement amount and the date, time, and the place where this lunch meeting was held, etc. So let's say we submit it to manager. So the manager will be able to approve or refuse. Let's say they approve, and then a journal entry can be posted. Okay, so over here you can see the changes in the different stages: submitted, approved, posted, and paid. So once it's paid, then you register the payment. Maybe by cash, then if it's like $1. Okay, and then it will show you in the status that it's paid. So any expense reports to approve will be over here. And you'll be able to see the expense reports to post to pay over here in the accountant as well. Okay, so coming back to the dashboard, we can now see the entertainment with clients through email that I sent just now, and the $5,000, and the status is to submit by employee Joist. And clicking into it, you'll be able to see that the relevant information has fallen into the correct fields by themselves. So this will be for the expenses. And last of all, attendances. Well, actually there is not much to show here. It's actually linked to the employees. So as we can see, the cards that are linked to attendance, it shows the time clock, the clock in and clock out of the different employees and the different records. So very straightforward over here. So this will be all for the HR module for now. So if you have any questions, you can always send into the chat, and I'll be here to answer any questions you have for now.
Okay, time for Q&A, and we've got 3 good questions, and they're really great, and hope Joyce can answer all of them. And the first 2 is about the overtime payment, and the first one is really specific. Is that how to configure the overtime payment formula, and the attendee raised a question such as if there is overtime hour, for the first hour would be $10, and the second hour would be 20, and the third hour would be 30, and so on and so forth. Is it available, or is it doable in our system to formulate this kind of formula?
Well, that is a very specific question, but it is a good question. For specific details, well, just now I showed you a very generic demonstration of the system, how HR features work for the generic functions for the Human Resources Department. So for specific details as to how to configure overtime payment, I would suggest that our functional consultant is actually an expert in this. Once you have, if you are a paid user, you can always schedule an appointment with our functional consultants, and they will be able to tell you and configure the overtime for you, because these details, well, it is always best to ask our functional consultants, who are also IT experts in the system.
Okay, and for the second question, I guess it's more or less the same. It is how to configure different overtime formula, and I guess you can contact the functional consultant and also the account manager as well as Joyce to contact her for more details about it. And her email will be jmo@odoo.com, and for her link, and you can schedule with her and find her link in the description box. And for the third question, is there any built-in workflow capability in our HR application?
Well, I'm not sure I understand correctly the question because first of all, I'll have to know which industry you're in, which business you are referring to, and what built-in workflow capabilities you are referring to because well, different clients have a specific and detailed needs, so I'll have to know more about it. You can always send me an email about that so that I will know exactly what you're referring to.
Okay, and for the fourth question, it's really good because any integration for the expense module with other module like project is about the integration within Odoo. Is it possible to do it?
By that, do you mean that well, some projects have incurred expenses and you want the employee when they reimburse those expenses to link to specific projects that you have created? Let's say you're a service company that has that does let's say refurbishment, and apart from doing that work, the service, you have to buy maybe paint or paintbrushes, etc. for this project, and you would want to link up the two. Well, I think that's possible because we have Odoo Studio, and we can always link up two apps and create certain fields in places where currently there are none. So that I would have to look into detail for you to know whether that can be done with Odoo Studio.
Okay, and we've got a new question. It's about the salary payment. And the question is about if I only check in and check out, maybe there's a record of the person or the employee. So will the system calculate the salary in salary rule automatically?
First of all, the clocking in and clocking out, it's a record for the accountant, which is responsible for payroll. Maybe. So that would be a reference or a guideline for them to to check in whether how much your salary is due for that, if that's how it's calculated. Second, the salary rule, I'm not sure which you are referring to. I think you
for
have
example, the monthly payment.
monthly payment. Okay, and third, Odoo doesn't have payroll, so that would have to be done separately with your accountant or with your human resources, but not through Odoo because currently Odoo doesn't do payroll.
Okay. Okay, and any other question? Just feel free to raise it in the YouTube chat. Okay, it's a more general question. How to count the user license? By module, by concurrent user, license, etc. It's about the Odoo subscription model. How we charge our client.
So if you go to the pricing page on the website, you'll be able to see, well, actually, we charge our subscriptions are based on two calculations, two formulas. One is the number of the number of users you have. So by number of users, we mean logins. So how many logins you create for your users. Well, ideally it's one login per user. And second, we calculate by computing how many apps or modules that you have purchased. So if you have one user using, for example, let's say sales and e-commerce, etc. So one user for apps, for example, it's this amount. Let me just take a look at which country is for Australia. Okay, it doesn't mean when you add one more user, it will be double this amount. No, so the users are added separately. As you can see, it's $20 per month for a user, regardless of the number of apps that you download or install.
Okay. And there's a more practical question. It's about roster and shift management. How can we manage, or how can we make a roster or make a shift management based on Odoo?
That's a very good question. Well, I do know that some businesses have shifts. Well, currently for Odoo, as you can see just now, if I go back to employees over here, or okay, so let me go to Ellie and let me go to attendance. Well, as you can see, we actually have two smart buttons here, or two apps that are linked, that are connected with how much time this employee has spent in at work. So attendance will be basically the clocking in and clocking out, and timesheets will be linked to the projects, the time she has spent on different projects. So well, currently we don't have like a roster type of field for you to input like night shift or morning shift or afternoon shift. We don't have that. So what you can do is to maybe mark it somewhere. If this, for example, if this employee Ellie over here, if she is a full-time employee working for the afternoon shift, that is something you can mark maybe around working hours or somewhere near her record. So we don't have roster management, which is very direct as yet. Now.
Sorry. Okay. And we've got another question. It's about the salary payment. How the salary payment works, and such as how can we pay the employee their salary based on our system, and how can we transfer the money through the bank or through the bank account or such as this thing?
Well, okay, so that would be accountings. Well, currently, if you want to calculate for the payroll for the employees, what you will have to do is to go into attendance app, and let's say here are two employees that have clocked in and clocked out, and you will be able to see like how long they've spent at work. If that's how you calculate your salary for them, to see whether they are late or whether they did OT, then you will have to export this information into a spreadsheet or CSV type of file, and then hand it over to an accountant for the calculation of salary, because currently we don't have payroll. So that is how you do it with Odoo. You can record the time here and then access your accounting app to do the rest over here.
Okay. I guess one final question is the most I guess people will want to know it, because is there any self-support after they purchase the application or after they subscribe to our license? Is there any self-support?
Self-support?
Maybe technical support or...
Oh, okay. So what you mean will be after sales services. So if you subscribe to our to Odoo, what you will get is a 24/5, that means 24 hours, 5 days in a week of email support from our consultants or from our team. You can actually go to our website and have a quick look at what type of support we have. So if you only subscribe to our apps and purchase, like say 5 users, we will host a database for you and do monitoring and security layers for you. And we also provide email and live chat support. But if you want more project management from us, then that would be the success pack over here, where you can find a dedicated project management service by our IT experts to your business from the beginning to the end of your implementation. And you can see there are 4 different packages here. If the hours you purchase are not used up in implementation, you can always use them during the running of your system because the hours never expire. So talking about support, what you desire is urgent, immediate, dedicated support, that would be our success pack over here. So this is something you can look at on our website. But if you think that you'll be fine with implementing Odoo by yourself with some only occasional questions, then you can stick to the email or live chat support that we have for clients without the success pack.
Okay, thank you Joyce for this stunning presentation.
Yes, you can.
And don't forget to click like if you found this video helpful, as well as subscribe to our channel for accessing more videos in the future. And as always, if you have any further question, you can send them to me. My email is kcn@odoo.com, and also Joyce's email, jmo@odoo.com, and we will make sure your question will be answered. And if you got here late, you can watch this webinar again anytime you want by revisiting the URL of this video. And thank you all again for joining this webinar, and we will see you next week, Wednesday, on the same time for the topic on how to manage a service company. And thank you, and see you on Wednesday next week. And remember to sign up to event in these days. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.